The galaxy had long feared humanity's soldiers, not because they carried the strongest weapons or commanded the largest fleets, but because they fought with a kind of determination that other species could never understand. For where alien armies relied on overwhelming firepower or advanced machines, humans relied on discipline, adaptability, and the simple refusal to surrender even when the odds seemed impossible, and this made them dangerous in every corner of the stars. For alien generals told whispered stories of small human units holding ground against entire legions, of patrol fleets that were outnumbered but still returned victorious, and of soldiers who fought on even when every escape had been cut off, and so the galaxy began to step back when Earth's banners appeared, knowing that their regular soldiers were already a force that could change the outcome of wars. Yet there was something deeper, something the galaxy had only heard in rumors and never seen directly. For while humanity's armies filled the battlefield with strength, there existed another kind of warrior hidden in the shadows, a group so secret that even many humans did not speak of them, and they were called the Special Forces. And the aliens who had survived their presence described them not as soldiers, but as shadows that walked with human faces, silent and unstoppable, striking where no army could reach, tearing apart strategies before battles had even begun, and then vanishing as if they had never been there at all, leaving only confusion and fear behind. But the galaxy believed these were just stories, exaggerated tales told by frightened survivors, until the day came when a great empire, proud and arrogant, chose to test humanity directly, for the Draken Dominion had grown bold after conquering 3 neighboring systems, and in their arrogance, they turned their eyes toward a human colony on the edge of charted space, believing that if they could seize it quickly, they would prove that humanity was not invincible, and so their fleets arrived with fire in the skies, dark ships blotting out the sun as their armies descended upon peaceful settlements, and the colonists could only watch in fear as the Dominion's banners rose above their homes. But Earth did not send an entire fleet, nor did it summon thousands of soldiers to meet this threat, for this time the call went to those who lived in the shadows, and the galaxy was about to learn that the stories were true, because humanity's response was to unleash its special forces, and while the Dominion's generals boasted of their strength and mocked the silence from Earth, their laughter faded the moment their warships began to fall, not from massive fleets or great battles, but from quiet precision strikes that no defense could stop, for in the darkness of space, teams of human operatives slipped past enemy sensors, disabling engines, corrupting weapons systems, and vanishing before alarms could sound, leaving entire squadrons drifting helpless in silence, and on the ground, where the Dominion soldiers marched in confidence through human cities, a handful of figures in dark armor moved unseen, dismantling entire command networks with terrifying speed, capturing leaders in the middle of the night, and planting fear so deep that even seasoned warriors began to hesitate, wondering when the shadows would strike again, and as the colonists watched from hiding, their despair turned into awe, for they saw that while humanity's regular soldiers fought with courage, these special forces fought with inevitability, like a storm that could not be stopped, and even as the Dominion tightened its grip, whispers spread through their ranks. Whispers that said the humans had unleashed something beyond soldiers, something that could not be fought with numbers. And as the first week of the invasion ended, the Dominion's proud fleet realized that what they had faced so far was only the beginning, for the true battle was not about who had the strongest weapons, but about who could survive the shadows, and every alien commander who had once dismissed the stories now began to wonder if they had made the greatest mistake of their lives, for the galaxy already feared humanity's regular soldiers. But now they were beginning to understand that there was something far worse waiting in the dark, and the Dominion had awakened it. The Draken Dominion had expected a swift victory, yet after days of silence broken only by sudden losses, their confidence turned into confusion, and confusion turned into fear, for their fleets that had once filled the skies above the human colony were now scattered, their proud warships reduced to drifting hulks without engines or power, victims of precise strikes from an enemy they could neither see nor predict, and on the ground the story was no different. For Dominion soldiers who once marched through the colony's streets with arrogance now moved in tight, trembling groups, their eyes scanning every shadow, waiting for the next invisible attack that would dismantle their ranks. And the truth soon became clear even to their highest commanders, that they were no longer fighting a conventional war, but facing a kind of enemy they had never prepared for, because while humanity's regular soldiers inspired respect and caution, the Special Forces inspired something far more dangerous, pure dread, for these were not warriors who fought for glory or conquest, but operatives who treated the battlefield as a puzzle to be solved, dismantling enemies with precision until nothing was left standing. And the more the Dominion resisted, the more they realized that every move they made had already been anticipated, as if the humans were inside their minds, breaking apart their strategies before they were ever put into action. And soon, alien officers began to vanish in the night, their command structures collapsing in silence, while entire Dominion battalions found themselves surrounded not by human armies, but by an unseen force that dismantled their weapons and communications, leaving them leaderless and afraid. And the colonists who had once hidden in fear now stepped out of the shadows themselves, emboldened by the knowledge that the Special Forces were fighting for them, their courage rising as they saw the invaders begin to crumble, and though the Dominion tried to rally with reinforcements, they found their fleets unable to enter orbit, for human operatives had disabled their jump gates and hacked their navigation, stranding them across the stars. And when the Dominion War Council realized they could not win, it was already too late, for humanity's storm had broken them, and their empire that had risen through conquest was forced to kneel in humiliation, their surviving generals captured, their ships abandoned, and their soldiers retreating in disgrace. And across the galaxy the news spread like wildfire that the mighty Dominion, feared for centuries, had fallen not to massive fleets or endless armies, but to a handful of humans whose existence had once been dismissed as rumor. And the whispers grew louder in every system. Whispers that said, if regular human soldiers could terrify entire empires, then what chance did anyone have against the Special Forces? And as those whispers reached alien councils and rulers, many began to see humanity not just as another civilization, but as a power unlike any other, a force that could not be measured by numbers or weapons. And when Admiral Kale, speaking on behalf of Earth, finally addressed the galaxy, his words carried a weight that none could ignore. You feared our regular soldiers, and that was wise, but you dared to test us further, and so you have learned what hides in the shadows, our Special Forces. Know this: humanity does not seek conquest, but if you bring war to our homes, we will answer with a storm you cannot survive. His message echoed across every star system, and though humanity's fleets soon withdrew to their colonies, leaving behind no occupation and no chains, the legend remained, growing with every retelling, until even distant civilizations that had never seen a human began to fear the possibility of what might happen if they did. And in the silence that followed, one truth was carved into the memory of the galaxy forever. Regular soldiers had already terrified the stars. But when humans unleashed their Special Forces, the galaxy finally understood that Earth's true strength was not just in its armies, but in the unshakable will of its people, a will that no empire, no fleet, and no shadow could ever overcome.